Okay.
We're gonna try this again.
Yeah.
All
I don't
right.
know if it was my internet or yours, but
Oh,
you just
it's mine. It's mine. I'm actually I'm at the beach, and
yes.
I'm on a major Wi-Fi connection. So we're gonna try
Yep.
again.
No, it's okay.
Let's start all over. How about that? All right. So again, Jim Berkman, Spotlight on Berks Sports with Sophia Gladieux, a 2020 graduate of Oley Valley High School. Sophia, you were the first recipient of our Athlete of the Year award, which is really cool for me because I take a lot of pride in that, and our sponsors take a lot of pride in that as well. You finished your high school career fourth in the nation with 206 goals, but again, that pales in comparison to where you're at now and where you're going. But let's start from the beginning, Phia. Your passion for field hockey. When did it start?
Yeah, so um, I've said this a lot, but my sister started playing, so I kind of followed her footsteps and started playing. And in Ole, like that was kind of like the thing to do was just start playing field hockey. In a lot of other places, it's soccer, but in Ole and in Berks County in general, it was field hockey. That was what you wanted to play. And so my first year was pretty rough. I wasn't very good. But I think that was when the passion for the game really started and kind of in my head because I wasn't very good, and I think that was kind of the fuel to my fire to get good. And so I would just literally go outside and practice in my driveway literally every single day with my dog Casey, and I just try to keep the ball away from her, and like I just had so much fun doing it. And I remember specifically at an Ole youth camp, I think it was the following year, I did my very first like pool around a defender. And I just remember the feeling was so exhilarating. And now it sounds so silly, but in the moment, it was just like, wow, like what I'm doing at home is actually like paying off. And again, I was like 10, maybe 9 years old. And so I think that's really when I just started to fall in love with the game and just get really excited about little things like that. And, just seeing it kind of snowball and all the things I was practicing, kind of seeing it reflect in the game was just super exciting. And yeah, I just was having so much fun doing it. Truthfully, every single day I got so excited for any camps, clinics, like after practices I'd go home and still play, and my dad would be like, Phia, like go do something else. Like, are you okay? But I think, they recognize how much I was enjoying it and they weren't forcing me to do anything. So I think it's like your child's happy, like that's the biggest, thing that you want for them is to be happy. And yeah, I think that's really where the passion kind of all started for me.
You're saying you were 9 or 10 years old at that time. Fast forward a couple years, you're now a freshman on Oley Valley's team, and
Yeah.
the team they've Coach Capilano had a good history of building good programs. They had a good program before you came along. And you expanded on that program. Do you have any one, maybe two of your best memories from Oley Valley field hockey?
Oh yeah. I think there's so many because we were just so successful. So it's really hard to find just like one or two. I think for like the actual excitement and like, knowing that all of your hard work is paid off, those moments would probably be like the county finals. I think the two that were like the most exciting, the most thrilling was my sophomore and junior year. So sophomore year, we beat Wilson, who for those of you that don't know, Wilson's a AAA school. They're ginormous. We're just like a single A little farm town school. So like it just goes to show like our talent was just like undeniable at that point. And so we were able to beat Wilson under the lights. I remember one of my favorite goals is in that game on my reverse backhand, which is kind of my signature shot. And just like our student section was insane at the time. They called themselves the Ozone for the Oley Valley. And it was just like, oh my gosh, it was so fun. So that definitely, and just be able to beat Wilson, they were undefeated, super amazing. And then my junior year, we beat Exeter. And same thing, there was a lot of, little beef and tension between us and Exeter. Same thing with the student sections. It was just really, really exciting to be able to play like a top, big school like that and be able to win. And that was, our third straight. So, but I do have a little funny story that I always remember. And this is another favorite memory of mine, but I remember we were on the grass field practicing because we were playing Kutztown that week, I think. And our assistant coach, Mel Brill, Mel Brill was, we weren't doing a passing drill, right? Keep in mind, we're on grass. And they were like, that's it, like drop your sticks, get on the line. And she just went off at us and we were just doing suicides. And it was you would think we were like a top D1 program and we were just like high schoolers just trying to like get through a grass practice. And there was a soccer game going on and everyone just like is looking down at the grass field like what is going on. So it's just kind of like funny, but it also just goes to show like the competitive spirit that like and pride that Oley had, and also like within the coaches to be able to push us, and push us past that comfort zone. It's just a funny little story to think about.
That's quite hilarious, actually.
It's really
Uh,
funny.
Thinking back, Coach Capilano, your high school coach, what did she do? How did she help you promote your game and get you to where you're at?
Oh gosh, I could never say enough about Coach Capilano. She's just been such a big part of my field hockey career, and I just have to give her so much props for getting me to where I am today. Not only just at Oley, but also Excalibur. But I think for me, the biggest thing that I loved about her as a coach is like no matter the talent, no matter the skill level of the person, she treated everyone the same. Like I would say that she is the woman that humbled me, and I have to thank her so much for the character that I've developed throughout my field hockey career. Because a lot of times when you have like a higher level athlete, especially in high school, they kind of get the certain treatment and favoritism. It exists, but like that was not the case with her and I, and like I'm so appreciative of that. Like she is definitely someone now I can easily go and talk to all the time, but I tell her all the time, I was like, I was scared of you back then. But in the best way. No, she was just, someone you could, she cared about us so much and she just cared about the game so much. And just put us in our place and just really prepared us. I remember one time my freshman year, 13 years old, right? And we were playing a home game and I must have been a little bit of a ball hog at the time. And there was a timeout called and she brought us all in. She looks me right in the eye. She's like, this isn't the Phia show. And just in front, I just remember start crying. I was so embarrassed, but like that to me, like looking back, I'm so grateful that she did things like that because like I needed to be put in my place and, it prepared me so much for college. But, and, the moments of having almost, burnout in the sport too, like she and I had so many, one-on-one emotional conversations, and she's just always been so supportive of everything I've done. And to be able to look back and see how supportive she was and how much of like impact she had on my career, I'm just so grateful. And she's just a badass woman, and she just loves the game and loves her players so much, and so I'm just really truly grateful for her.
So let's move ahead a couple years. You're now a Penn State graduate, right?
Almost.
Almost. Okay. You
This
recently
upcoming
announced
fall.
you've recently announced you're coming back for a fifth year.
Mhm.
Um,
Yes.
what went into making that decision, and how excited are you about it?
Yeah, so I was a COVID freshman, so I kind of we got the worser end of it, just being a freshman in general during COVID. But so that's when NCAA came out that everyone that was in college at that time would get an extra year. And like in that moment, I was like, oh, there's no like doubt that I'm like not gonna like I'm taking my fifth year. Like it was just like a no-brainer for me because well, everyone that I've talked to, Tiff being one of them, would say like if I had an extra year, like oh my gosh, you have to take it. You have to take advantage of that. And just thinking about it, everyone I could possibly think of would want an extra year of college. Like who doesn't? And not just that though, but like the school itself and the field hockey and the people, like I just can't imagine like denying that opportunity. I think it's such a great one, not just like for field hockey, but academically too, and just kind of getting your feet grounded a little bit more and having more of that experience. Yeah, it's just for me, I couldn't think of not taking it. But for this situation, it actually worked out perfectly because I left in February, March. I stopped my student teaching to come down here. And so I was supposed to graduate in May and then get a master's. That's what my plan was. But then obviously I came down here. So I still need to get my undergrad degree. So it kind of works out. I'm going to go back in the fall, play my final season, and then get my degree in the fall and graduate in December. So plan shifted a little bit, but I think it all honestly, worked out for the best.
Now, looking ahead at this fifth year, you're going to have a former Ole player as a teammate,
Yeah.
uh, Morgan Schneider, who is our current female athlete of the year at Spotlight on Berks Sports, is going to be a Penn State freshman. Did you talk to Morgan at all? Were you part of her recruitment? How did that work out?
Yeah, so actually both of her parents were my teachers growing up. So her mom was my third grade teacher and her dad was my sixth grade teacher. So and like so I've known Morgan since she was like a baby basically, which is so weird. But no, I mean, I knew she was more into soccer growing up, and then she switched over to field hockey, and I knew she was just like an athletic human being. Like just seeing her out there, I knew she was really good. She was one of those athletes that was really just good at anything she does. Basketball, I'm pretty sure scored 1,000 points there, like easy. Which is just so cool. And I think being able to be a multi-sport athlete is just, yeah, it's a great skill to have. But yeah, like I've had a few conversations with her. I mean, obviously our age gap is, 5 years, so weren't always like we never really played together. But I've always been aware of her and I knew her interest at Penn State and just the conversations she'd have with the coaches and they would tell me. And so, I didn't want to teeter her decision too much by, being biased, obviously, but I wanted her to actually be able to make that decision for herself and just let her know that like I'm here for anything that she needs and I'm not gonna lie, like Happy Valley is the best place on earth. So I think she's gonna fit in, super well. I'm really, really excited for her. It's gonna be so fun and she's just a great field hockey player and I think she has so much potential to just grow. And I think she'll flourish in an environment like this. And I can't wait to just kind of be there for her and guide her and push her to her fullest potential. It's gonna be really fun.
Very cool. That's very cool. Uh, Phia, now to the
Well,
meat
sir.
of why we're talking. You are a part of the 2024 United States Olympic field hockey team. Um, First of all, I'd like to know how you feel about that, but I'd also like to know what was the process? What did you have to go through to make the team?
Yeah, no, it's pretty crazy. Every time I hear someone say that, it's just kind of like a surreal moment, and I feel like I won't truly believe it until I'm out there on the field and that first whistle blows. But yeah, it's hard to find the words because this has been a lifelong dream of mine since I literally picked up the stick and I knew what the Olympics even were. I was like, I want to do that, and I've always looked up to the previous Olympic field hockey teams and just was awed by their talent and their drive and passion for the sport, and so. Yeah, when I got invited down here and potential to, make the team, I was like, that's just like a no-brainer because that is obviously something I've always dreamt of. But I obviously knew like I was here and, the Olympics were over there and I knew it was going to take a lot of work to even be considered to get selected. So, and I've had honest conversations with the coaches about that. And, this wasn't going to just be an easy walk in the park. And so I think, yeah, the process, I mean, you come in here, you playing with girls that have been on the team for 4+ years or been, in the program for centralized for a year or so. And so that was definitely intimidating. And obviously, I play college level, but the international level is just like 3 steps above, if not more. And so I knew my skill. I know I have the skill for it. And the drive and the passion. It was more so just like about, the fitness, like being able to play at that pace for a long time. And so that was something that I had been working on since day one. Mostly it was just like the physical aspect, the fitness kind of side of things. And so yeah, we come a long way, and I've seen so much growth just in a few weeks, and it's super exciting. And having those conversations with the trainers and David, and having that goal, and being able to reach it is just super rewarding. And yeah, just super exciting. And it was definitely it's a hard process and props to the girls that have been doing this for however many years. But I think just reminding myself that everyone's path is different and everyone's, how they got here looks different and that's totally okay and that's normal. So yeah, it's just been pretty surreal. And like I said, I don't think it'll really sink in until it's probably over. So I'm just super excited to be able to represent our country and just do the thing that I love and yeah, hopefully do well.
Being a part of this year's team is being a part of any team. Obviously, in the Olympics, it's the Olympics. It's amazing. But being a Berks County native, both of us, being a part of this year's team is really um, uncommon, unheard of. You have, in addition to yourself, 4 other Berks County natives on the team. Carly from Hamburg, Kylie and Ashley from Twin Valley, and you throw Meredith in there from Fleetwood. Um, each of you have your own stories that are amazing. Um, Carly battling the cancer right now is just incredible. But tell me, how is it on this team, all of you being Berks County natives, that you know each other so much better than the rest of the team, I would assume.
Yeah, no, it's funny because I feel like we honestly forget about it sometimes. And then when the list came out and they post that picture, we're just like, oh my gosh, like this is crazy. But I think for me, I think like obviously Kelly and Ashley went to Twin Valley together. So like they were teammates. And then Carly was in their age group, so they kind of played against and with each other if it was club. I, on the other hand, am a little bit younger than they are, so I never actually played with or against them really. But I think just having that like small community really just helps the team chemistry and culture. Just knowing it's almost like a piece of home is there with us, and it's just refreshing, honestly. And it's super cool to be able to say that, you know, we all came um from the same kind of area, and we all make jokes like we're all small town, like farm town type vibe
Right.
schools. And so we just like, you know, we crack jokes to each other every once in a while about it, and like, oh, do you remember this about this town, whatever it is, like we can just have small little funny comments about it. Yeah, like I said, just super comforting and refreshing. And yeah, it's super, super cool. And it's definitely something Berks County should be super proud of, because clearly they breed some of the top athletes, not only in the country, but the world. So that's something to be proud of for sure.
Now, in all fairness, Meredith has a Berks County address, but she went to Emmaus. So she didn't go to a
Right.
Berks County high school. Do you girls give her a little heckling about that or no?
It's really funny bring that up because we did actually the other day. We were like, why was she included in that? And then she was like, it wasn't in my control. She was like, they did it, not me. But no, Meredith and my sister have actually been best friends since like youth league, probably maybe middle school, like super close. And then Meredith actually played at Oley for a little bit until high school, and she went to Emmaus. So like my whole family knows her very well. Like we're best friends too. So it was just a lot of, you know, jokingness, but we said to her, we're like, why were you included in that? And she was like, it wasn't up to me. We're like, you're fake, like you're a traitor, and just like funny stuff like that. And she was laughing. And no, it is super funny, but she did grow up in Berks County. So, and you know, went through the youth system, partly at Ole and mostly with Sue Butts, but still I think it just goes to show like not only just Berks County, but PA in general just
Right.
kind of is overtaking everything. So it's funny, but it is super cool. So
Now, a little bit ago, you said something about being down there. Tell us, where are you located right now?
I am in Charlotte, North Carolina.
Okay. And I assume that's where the team is. You're preparing. What's your daily routine like to prepare for the games?
Yeah, so all of us are centralized here in Charlotte, which is super nice. We have a really awesome training facility. We have our own field, we have our own weight room, and meeting room. So it's definitely very accommodating. But day to day, since being down here, basically looks like practice 5 days a week, sometimes 6 days a week, and just Sunday off. And they just kind of, each day kind of looks a little different, just depending on like our numbers and like our data that we have from our catapults that we wear that tracks like how fast we run, how hard we're running, the percentage of speed, like super detailed. So that they kind of base a lot of practices off of that. But usually like 3 hour practice in the morning, and then a little break, and then we'll have a lift, and then we're usually done by like noon, probably 1:30. But I would say basically every day looks like that. And then obviously every other day is a lift. And then on those days that we're not lifting, we're doing like speed work. We condition just about every day before or after practice, depending if we don't hit our numbers. But it's very consistent, I would say, and very routine, which for me, I love that because I know what to expect. I know what I need to do to, you know, kind of peak. In this last 4 week kind of block, we started the first week was higher, definitely like speed, higher tempo, all that. And then the week after, kind of similar, but we're starting to, you know, tamper off a little bit. Just so we can peak at the right spot. We want to peak when we're in pairs. We don't want to peak right now. And just risk, you know, injuries and all that stuff. And then next week we'll actually have like a regen type week. So we'll just be lifting and some conditioning, just to keep our bodies in shape, but not, like I said, we're not doing too much too soon. So that's kind of what our day to day looks like. I'm usually done around 1:30 every day, and eat a lot, burning a lot of calories. So definitely just focusing on fueling and recovery and sleep and hydration. It gets super hot down here. So yeah, it's been a full-time job, but it's, one I wouldn't trade the world for. So
Without a doubt. Without a doubt. When do you leave for Paris?
so we're leaving next Sunday, July 14th. We're going to Ireland.
Oh, don't cut off now. You are not going to cut off now.